Hello and welcome to the 2-minute series. The topic for today is effective revenue deficit. Now, first and foremost, you need to know that this is an Indian concept. This is not a globally accepted economic term, but rather an Indian innovation. It was a term that was introduced in the budget of 2011 and 12. Now, once you all know that what revenue deficit is, which we have discussed in a previous video, you all know that revenue deficit, as I had discussed even there, is something that is extremely unhealthy for a government, because this means that if there is a revenue deficit, then the daily expenditure of the government, that is on its maintenance, paying the salaries to its staff, its own cars and all fuel, all these daily requirements of a particular government is also something that the government is unable to finance, and for that also the government is borrowing. So definitely revenue deficit is something that is a shame to the government. So to curb this shame, to do away with this negative image of revenue deficit, the government came up with the concept of an effective revenue deficit. Now here the government said that all the grants that the government was giving, that the central government was basically giving to states, which was later being used by the states for creation of capital assets, should not be counted as revenue deficits, because these grants are what are considered under revenue expenditure. So they said that at least that part which the states are using into building some capital asset is what should be removed from revenue deficit. And definitely if this is going to happen, then revenue deficit is what is going to appear less, and this is what the government at that point of time said that should be called as effective revenue deficit. But you should know that this concept was rejected. It was rejected by many theorists, many economists. Also, the Finance Commission has also rejected this concept. So revenue deficit still is taken without removing these grants that are given, and revenue deficit still gives a negative image to the government. But still, for knowledge sake, you should know this concept of effective revenue deficit. So that's all for today's discussion. I thank you all for watching the video.